Good good morning. Good morning from Los Angeles. Welcome to Trading with Sergio. It's Monday. We're back at the grind. Very important week. Probably the most one of the probably the, I don't know. Going back to April, probably the most important week of the year. Why? Everybody knows. Fed rate decision is going to take place on Wednesday, 11 a.m. Luckily, I will be live during that event. I will be live. I will go on live on Wednesday for Trading with Sergio at 10 a.m. Pacific, and I'll extend it through Jay Powell's news conference. You all remember how this all started? Last September, 50 basis point interest rate cut. What happened that day? You guys have a recollection? Massive down day, like a 4% down day. So I'm not saying it's going to be the same thing, but you guys need to pay attention to it. This week's schedule: today, Trading with Sergio; Wednesday, Trading with Sergio; Wednesday afternoon, 4:30 Pacific, members only live; and Friday, back to Power Hour. So doing 3 lives this week. What is happening today? I mean, today, I honestly didn't expect much to go on until Wednesday, but market's always there to prove anybody, including me, wrong. Over the weekend, Bitcoin and Ethereum just flat to lower a little bit. Not much is going on. I'll go to the position screen and I'll show you guys what I'm doing today. I'm trimming. I'm adding to my hedges. But we'll see. So what's going to happen this week is tomorrow we got August retail sales data coming out. Wednesday, obviously, the Fed rate decision, 11 a.m. Pacific, and then FOMC press conference by Jay Powell, Fed dot plot projections as well. That shows how many more interest rate cuts we're expecting. And Thursday, Philadelphia Fed Manufacturing Index, and Thursday, again, initial jobless claims. So a pretty full week. I think we'll pick up some volatility after Wednesday or during, probably. I did put a video out of the past interest rate hiking and interest rate lowering cycles. So you may call that QT and QE, but let's call it the hiking cycles and interest rate lowering cycles. I don't recall in my 35-year career when the Fed started cutting rates while all asset classes that I follow are at an all-time high, such as stocks, such as gold, real estate in certain parts of the country, obviously, and crypto to a degree. I mean, they're pretty close. They're about 5 to 10% from their all-time highs. So we need to understand the macro. Like, why is Fed cutting the rates? Well, looking at inflation, they should be raising the rates. They shouldn't be cutting the rates. But then they probably are looking at unemployment, which is ticking up. And I mean, I don't know if those numbers are believable any longer. As we know, with those revisions, yearly revisions, 900,000 people disappeared. But look, it is what it is. Maybe they'll have an announcement that they're going to. I mean, look, Fed does not just look at the Bureau of Labor Statistics numbers. Obviously, they go to the ADP data. They follow it live. They know what's going on in the economy, and so Fed's in that kind of a box. I don't think Fed is cutting the rates because Trump is pushing, or trying to bend their arm. I think they're looking at the data. Well, their mandate is 2% inflation with full employment. We're obviously not going to get to 2% inflation this year. It's running much harder than expected, the CPI and PPI. So according to that, they shouldn't be cutting rates, because if they do cut rates, right, and money goes into the economy, more printing, and more dollars get into the economy, what's going to happen? Inflation is going to get harder. And although let's call the effects of the tariffs transitory, because we don't know what's going on now. That musical chair is still going on, but I think a lot of people got used to these tweets: 500%, 100%, 50% tariffs. We don't know, but market gets used to it, right? The initial reaction in April was horrendous, right? Massive crash. And so looking at the macro, one part of it, Fed is in a box. If they cut rates, inflation may accelerate, which is already higher than their target. But if they don't cut rates, economy may be really slowing down because unemployment's ticking up. And so, I think my money says that if they cut rates by 50 basis points, which I doubt that they will, if they cut rates, that may indicate a little bit of a panic on the Fed's part or signal that they may be behind the curve. A lot of people think Fed is always behind the curve. That's one of them is me. I think they waited way too long to raise rates after coming out of ZERP and after coming out of the pandemic. And we know what happened. Inflation soared, and now they can't put the genie back in the box. So if they're late cutting rates now, there will be, there will be some slowdown that they're expecting. Obviously, that's why they're cutting rates. They're not cutting rates because we have deflation or anything like that. So we need to really be careful here because a lot of expectations are that while we're at all-time highs in all asset classes, they cut rates. We're going to have a melt up. Like one of them is Tom Lee. He could be right. He could be wrong. But I don't think that's going to be the case. If we were not at all-time highs, if we were already selling off, cutting rates may be positive, but we'll see. We'll see what's going to happen. So I'm putting on some bearish hedges on the indexes. It is really, really very critical. I think this Wednesday decision is going to be super critical. So what else? Let's see. That's about it. Yeah. So we'll say good morning to everyone. Oh, let me post a link up if anybody wants to come on. I want to make it too super interactive today. Here's the link. All I'm asking is that you're at a quiet place with good internet reception so we don't get cut off. But here's the link. You're more than welcome to come on and we can discuss anything you guys want to discuss. The talk of the town has been or is going, still is, obviously, what Tom Lee's doing with BMNR, SBAT to a point, and many other proxies of BTC or Bitcoin and Ethereum. On the BTC end, obviously, we know the big kahuna, which is Michael Saylor with strategy. I am actually putting on some positions on MSTU, which is the 2x ETF of strategy. Look, there's really, the game is pretty simple when it comes to these Ethereum or Bitcoin proxies. It's pretty simple. If you're bullish on Bitcoin, you should be long these things. If you're bearish on Bitcoin, you should be short these things. The trade that was put on by a lot of hedge funds was, there's something called MNAV, multiple to net asset value. So the net asset value is what they own in Bitcoin or Ethereum, less their debt, obviously. In Strategy's case, they have some debt, they issued some convertibles. So all you have to do is just figure out how many shares are outstanding, multiply that by the stock price, you get market capitalization to get to MNAV. Then you take the net asset value. Like MicroStrategy's business is really pretty much worth nothing, so enterprise value is minimal. You just take how many Bitcoin they have, multiply with the live or current Bitcoin price, you get net asset value. Then you take, if net asset value is above the market capitalization, there is an MNAV or multiple to net asset value that is positive. So in Strategy's case, I think we're right about 1.3, but they used to be in the 2.5 levels. So what Wall Street did was just bought Bitcoin and then shorted MicroStrategy or strategy. The same thing is happening with Ethereum proxies, such as the two biggest ones is BMNR, Tom Lee's BMNR, and Sharplink, SBAT. BMNR's case, they keep buying it. I think they're over 2 million ETH, and they are right about 1.3 MNAV. The only one that's at a discount that I own or I follow, I don't own the shares, but I have some option positions on, is SBAT. SBAT is at right about 0.88, 0.89 range. So it's under 1 MNAV. So when one of these proxies is under net asset value, so it puts the company in a bind, right? So if it's above 1, what the companies do, they do either convertibles, bonds, note sales, and buy more Ethereum or Bitcoin when they're so that they take advantage of that premium. So that's what BMNR has been doing, right? And so strategy. Well, now it puts SBAD in a bind. Well, there's no way any sane person or any management of these proxies should do at the market stock sales, and most of them so far has been done that way, right? It's called ATM sales. They basically are selling equity, diluting shareholders, but turning around immediately and buying Ethereum with it in SBAT and BMNR's case. Well, if you're under net asset value, why should you dilute? This doesn't make any sense. But then if you don't have the cash, how are you going to raise cash to buy more Ethereum, right? So what SBAT should do, if they do have cash, which they announced it anyway last week, now they should start buying back shares. So basically you're buying Ethereum at a discount. So people ask me, like, why don't you just go and buy an Ethereum? I'm like, well, if I buy SBAT at, I think it's a $17 a share, that's like buying Ethereum at 0.88 MNAV. It's about a 12% discount. So if Ethereum drops 12%, now, could this multiple net asset value shrink more? Of course it could. It could go to 0.75. It's been shrinking on all of them. And, Wall Street figured it out. They buy the underlying, which is Ethereum or Bitcoin, and then they short the stocks. And it's been a wonderfully profitable trade for them because MNAV keeps shrinking. Well, in SBAT's case, so I'm adding to positions. I'll show you my positions in a minute. I'm doing defined risk trades with through options because there is a risk. What's the risk? A lot of people, are just. I see on Twitter, I see on YouTube these folks or some chat rooms. Oh, BMNR going to 100. I'm like, why? Why is it going to go to 100? Oh, it could go to 100 if Ethereum goes to 10,000. That's the only way. It's a pure Ethereum proxy with a positive multiple to net asset value. In SBAT's case, they can't do anything at the moment. They can't dilute and do ATM sales while multiple net asset value is under 1. It wouldn't make sense at all. Now, they could come with, because they have a shelf registration of billions of dollars, they could come with some convertibles, and I'm sure institutional interest will be good. But with that money, instead of buying Ethereum, I would strongly suggest to the management to buy shares back. So once you reduce the share count, Ethereum per share is going to go up, right? So if you're above 1 MNAV, you do ATM sales because you're basically buying Ethereum at a discount. If you're below MNAV, you should buy back shares. And that's what Tom Lee said already, right, for BMNR. But fortunately, at the moment, with the current stock price, BMNR is above 1 MNAV. So, it's not a confusing situation. I mean, what you need to do if you're trading these things or if you're buying these things, you're either bullish or you're bearish. Now, what's the risk on the downside? Okay, what if Ethereum goes to 3,500? Could it? Of course it could. A lot of people go like, oh, well, of course it could. It could go to 2,000, where it came from. What will happen to BMNR if Ethereum goes to 2,000? It'll be like $15, $20 max. What will happen to SharpLink if Ethereum goes to 2,500, 3,000? It'll be like $5. And a lot of people are holding the bag and saying, oh, this and this and this. I'm not sure they understand what they're getting into, right? So that's why when I do trade these things, I do it with defined risk downside trades, and then, with almost unlimited upside. And I want to know what my risk is when I get into it, because there is no guarantees. Now, I take my hat off to Tom Lee. He's a GOAT or whatever. He says next year Ethereum is going to be 15,000, 20,000. He said Bitcoin is going to be 200,000 by the end of the year. Well, that's a double from here. So if that happens, okay, then strategy will take off. It'll go to 500. But there are no guarantees in this world. Like, my question has been for the last year, Michael Saylor, through strategy, is buying Bitcoin by the hundreds of thousands every weekend, literally. Why is Bitcoin price not going up? There is all this demand coming from institutional side. Who's selling, right? All these questions need to be answered before you guys get into this stuff. So anyway, all right. So let's go. Let's see who's here. Rideshare Rodia, Steve, what's up? Traveler, Magdalena, hello. SJ, Luis, Manny P. Hey, TJ, what's up? If you want to come on, grab the link. Gary, what's up? Gary says, I've seen a guy using a regular. Yeah, I mean, look, you know, I mean, they use technical analysis. It's, you know, the past sometimes repeats. But if anybody says, including AI, that they know what's going to happen the next minute, I don't buy it. I'm not buying it. Although, you know, AI is going to be doing our work in every case. I'm going to go to the positions. I'll answer that question. Hang out. I'm doing some put debit spreads on UPro, but I'll show it to you guys in a minute. Doug, hello. Yeah, I mean, look, we have a market that's making all-time highs day after day after day. Okay, I see these YOLOers on Twitter. They got into this stock open door, and it was 50 cents. It hit $10 within a month, and they're all posting their accounts. Oh, look, I made $1 million. I made this. Well, it's not that. And then I you know, on Robinhood, and most of them are on Robinhood. I see their accounts. I see what happened to them in April. They had 50, 60% drawdowns. I mean, look, there's ways to do this with, you know, proper risk management, and there's the way they do it. And, you know, all power to them. Hey, you know what? That single stock made a lot of people a lot of money already in a month or two. That's not my style. I don't YOLO at this stage of my life. I don't need to YOLO. I'm financially secure. Would I like to make 100% of my money every year? Of course I would. And I'm working on it. Hopefully by the end of the year, I'll be there. On my trading account, on my long-term portfolio, I got lucky, bought some really good stocks like Google's and things like that during the crash. I'm actually rotating that. I really am actually, with these interest rate cuts, I'm really seriously considering start DCAing into IWM, which I think smaller stocks, small cap stocks, I think are going to do really well because they're more dependent on lower interest rates than large caps. So IWM is Russell 2000. You know, the breadth I think is going to expand, and if the market's going to make all-time highs, there'll be rotation as well from the big caps or mega caps to smaller cap stocks, and we'll see if I'm right or wrong. So let's go to the positions again. If anybody wants to come on, here's the link. There it is. Okay, there's the link. All right, so before I go to positions, today's Monday. I will post my positions. Full transparency on this channel. I always do it. I've been doing it for a year. I post my positions, open positions, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday of the YouTube channel on the community page. It's not easy to find, but if you go to the YouTube channel, on the middle there is a bar, or there is a row that says video, live, shorts, I don't know, whatever, something else. And the last one, for some reason, so if you have to kind of swipe left if you're on a cell phone, you'll see posts or community. Click on that. You will see the screenshot of my positions after the close every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Disclaimer, none of this is trading or investment or financial advice. What I do is very risky. It works for me. It may not work for you. If you do tag along, so I don't day trade. I'm a swing trader or a position trader. If you do tag along, by the time I post it again on Wednesday, I may not be in that position and you may be holding the bag. So none of it is trading, financial, or investment advice. So I will be posting that today. So the way you guys can look at this is that you guys can go backwards, and the posts stay there. They don't get deleted. So you can go, let's say if I posted today, you can go check out what it looked like on Friday, or take a screenshot of it and then take a screenshot of it today and compare it, like what the changes are. Now, one thing is that I have a members group, Telegram chat group. Wonderful folks, really, they're learning quite a bit. And if you do want to join, then those folks get my trades live as possible, meaning as soon as I execute them, I post it. Again, none of that is trading or financial advice, but everybody does what they want to do, what it fits them. And so as a member, they get that. Obviously, at the end of the day, they get it daily, my positions, and also they get a live stream midweek on Wednesdays at 4:30 p.m. Pacific, just live for members. So that's what you get. But let's go to the positions. You guys can see this, I'm sure. All right, so what is happening today? All right, so I started opening positions on MSTU. As I said, MSTU is the 2x ETF of MSTR, and I'm up to 25 lots. I'm going out to, so am I bullish on Bitcoin? Yes, I am. I think debasing of the currency is going to continue. Printing and spending is going to continue. We're going to hit 38 trillion in debt in about 50 days or 60 days, whatever it is, because every 100 days the debt goes up by $1 trillion. Nothing will change. Both, it's not political, Republican or Democrats. They like spending money they don't have. Washington is basically. So I started putting on. So if Tom Lee's right and Bitcoin is at 200,000 at the end of the year, MSTR is going to be probably 50% higher than what it is, and this thing will be 100% higher than what it is. So I'm putting on a synthetic. Synthetic meaning I'm not committing my money to the shares. The shares are at 485. I thought of doing a weekly strangle for about 7% a week, which I will explain in a minute. Maybe I'll do some of that myself today. But initially now what I'm doing is I'm going out to December expiration. I'm selling the $5 puts, buying the $5 calls. In fact, I'll add to it now because at 485. Selling the 5 puts, buying the 5 calls, selling the 10 calls. Why am I selling the 10 calls? Well, it reduces my exposure and allows me to do this with a credit. Basically, I'm getting paid to play. It's a reasonably equity efficient situation. So let's see if we can do 5 more lots of this. Going out to December. So that's selling the 5 calls, selling the 5 puts, buying the 5 calls. Now you're going to say, Serge, you're in the money. Why are you selling the 5 puts? Well, if Bitcoin is going to go to, 200,000, this thing's going to be 10. And that is why I'm selling the 10 calls. All right, we're at 45 credit. I'll take 45 cents credit. Let's send it in. I'm not sure if they'll do it or not, but we'll see. Nope, they didn't do it. Of course, market makers will not give it to you if they think, unless they can make a penny or two themselves. Anyway, so order is in at 45 cents. So what does this do? Let's explain it. So the synthetic is meaning instead of buying the shares, I'm putting on a synthetic. So if I were to buy 500 shares of the stock at the point right now, it'll cost me about $2,500. I'm doing this with much less buying power. What I'm doing is I'm willing. So if I do this at 45 cents, I did actually at 50 cents this morning when it was 475. So what I'm saying here is that I believe Bitcoin is going to go higher. I believe MSTR is going to go higher. And since this is the 2x ETF of MSTR, this is going to go higher, period. Now, a lot of people don't understand this. There's slippage in these things because they don't own MSTR. None of the ETFs, by the way, own the underlying shares. And that's why these things are not to be bought and held. That's why I'm not dealing with the shares. If you think there's going to be a big move in Bitcoin next 2 weeks, let's say, then you can buy and hold it. But if you think it's going to be coming by the end of the year, this is not going to give you 2-for-1 return that it's supposed to, because in it, they have swaps and they have long-term options. So every time they roll, they're losing value, obviously. Okay. But so I'm doing the option strategy. So what I'm saying to the marketplace is, okay, if I do it with 50 cent credit, by December, if MSTU is under 5, I'm willing to buy. If I have 25 lot position, I'm willing to buy 2,500 shares of MSTU in December, not today, at 4.5. Then I can sell cover calls on it and I can do whatever. However, if MSTU is going to go up, goes up to 6, 7, 8, I'll show you guys the chart in a minute. If MST is going to go up there, then I'm participating on the upside as well because I'm long the $5 calls. Okay. Now you can do this with longer term durations. I picked December because I think by the end of the year, if Bitcoin is not, 130, 140, then there's no point in extending the agony. Next position, Neo. I have 100 puts. I had 200 puts. I took a little bit of a hit, losses. On Neo, 648. I have the $5 puts going out to October. Next one, I was long 4,000 shares of Pioneer Power Solutions, PPSI. I was long about 373 range. It got up to about 470. I trimmed, obviously, took profits down to 1,000 shares. You guys got to take profits, man. I don't care what you guys say. I have a sell order at 488. If it gets there, sell the last 1,000 shares. Now here comes SBAT. SBAT is sharpling, selling at a discount to MNAV, and this position worked itself out actually great to a point. So what I had done is I had put on a synthetic, selling a put credit spread, and with that money buying call debit spread. And today I'm reducing the exposure. I was up to 60 put credit spread, 17.5, 15s, meaning 17.5 puts, $15. I was short the 17.5 puts going out to October expiration, long the 15 puts. And I was up to 60. Well, you guys can check it out at the end of today when I post it in the community page. You can compare it to what I had on Friday. I had done this put credit spread about $1.50 credit. I'm covering at $1.30. I don't want headaches. What I'm doing though is that I'm rolling it to January now, right? And I'm rolling it to different strikes. I'm not doing it with credits. I'm doing it with debits. But now I'm going to start adding, as I covered the put credit spreads going out to October, I'm adding to put credit spreads going out to January 16th, January 2026. So I'm trying to do now, but since the stock is 1685, I'm doing it with I'm selling the 15 puts, buying the 12.5 puts. Okay, so when you do a put credit spread, you have defined risk, period. Right? You know what your max loss is. Max loss is 2.5 in this case, 2.5 points. So, well, let's see what kind of credit I can get out of it because I want to keep adding to the January 17.5s. And 20s, so we're going to sell that. Not December, January. Okay, 12.5. We're going to buy the 12.5, $1.19. Let's give them $1.20 credit. So, okay, that order is in as well. So I want to do it at $1.20 credit. So when I do it at $1.20 credit, I'm selling the 17.5s. And buying the 12.5s. SBAC could go to 5. SBAC could go to 0, honestly. I couldn't care less, right? I mean, my max loss is going to be 2.5, except that I'm doing it with $1.20, $1.25 credit. So my max loss is 125. Now, with that credit, what I'm doing is I'm going to do it at 2-for-1 for 2 put credit spreads. I'm going to buy a call debit spread. What I'm doing is I'm going and buying a $15 call and selling a $25 call. That's a call debit spread. So I have the maximum upside exposure because we just did it. So I'm up to 30. I'm going to keep doing it actually because I like 120, 125, 130 credit. And then I will go add to the call debit spread. So we're at 30-20. I would like to be like 2-for-1. Basically, I don't want to pay anything for the call debit spread. And my max loss is 2.5, but I'm taking in 125. So my max loss is 125. But on the upside, if Ethereum is at 8,000, let's say, or 10,000, like Tom Lee is saying by January, okay, SBAT's going to be 25. So I'm taking in the put credit spreads are going to expire worthless, and then the call debit spreads are going to be worth every penny that they're worth, which is $10. So I'm risking $20, 25 to make 10. I'll take that trade. And with the limited risk being, if Ethereum goes down to nothing and SBAC goes to nothing, literally 0, my max loss is $1.25 and I have all the upside, right? So now you're going to say, well, why are you capping yourself? What if it's 50? All power to you. I'm happy to make 10 points by putting up risk of 125. So we'll enter 5 more of that. And buying that 118. Now let's do it at 125. So yeah, this thing was down to 130, I think. Let's do some at 130. So we'll enter that one. That's open. Okay, hope you guys are understanding what's going on. So I added to Semler Scientific today. It's a company that does some biotech stuff, but not a biotech stock, but it helps. They have some tools to help the healthcare industry with testing. And stock is in support, right about 28.5 range. So on this one, I'm doing the same thing. I am selling a put credit spread going out to December. I'm selling the 30 puts, buying the 25 puts. Again, limited downside. It could go to 0. I cannot lose more than 5. And I'm putting on a call debit spread between the 30 calls and 40 calls. And I'm doing that with about about 3/4, 75 cents to $1 credit. And yeah, so I'm up to 25. I think that's about right for that position. The other thing Semler Scientific has, they have 5,000 Bitcoin. So actually, if you look at the financials of the company, their Bitcoin holdings are about 550 million total market cap, including an existing company which is kicking in about 100 million in revenue every year, is about 450 million. So talk about below MNAV. This is way below MNAV. This is like 0.8. Now, if Ethereum, if Bitcoin goes up, obviously Semler Scientific is going to kick in. It's a wild stock. It's done moves before. So I'm just kind of adding that. Nothing is getting executed, obviously, because market maker doesn't see me worthy. And I don't know who asked, but this is the hedge. Look, I'm looking at a lot of stocks. They're just getting away from me, and I'm not going to chase it. I'm going to be super, super patient. So this is the hedge that I put on. Actually, I put on more. UPRO, which is the 3X ETF of SPY. I am buying put debit spreads. Index is 108.27. I'm buying the 105s and selling the 95 puts at right about $2 debit, period. I'm up to 60 lots. I did some more at 190 and 180 today. And my average, let's see, we're at 370. Yeah, we're at 370 for the puts, or 369, and 166 for the short leg. So I'm about 203. This gives me some cover with the other stuff, but the other thing that it'll do is if we do get a whoosh down on Wednesday after the rates are cut, this will protect the account and, in fact, make me money. So, because everything else is kind of probably in the account will fall apart at that time if we're going to get a sell-off. Now, if we take off, I will lose money on this, but then I have enough long positions, which I keep adding, that'll benefit. And my long to short ratio now is probably 70-30 range. So I'm happy with that. And that's the hedge. Now you can hedge a million different ways. You can buy puts directly, but IV is going to be very high. That's why I did a put debit spread. And UPRO is 3X ETF of SPY. If we do get some volatility, this thing will drop. Like if SPX drops 3%, this thing will move 9%. Well, if it does, 9% move is 100 from here. The long puts will be way in the money. I am really not trying to do this as a directional. If I was doing this as a directional, I would not have any long positions. I would be just short, meaning I will just have the put debit spread. Since I don't know, and I don't think anybody knows, right? So that's what we're doing. I reduced the SBAT put credit spreads going out to October. I made like maybe 20 cents on it, 60 lots. On the call side, I had a call debit spread. I came out on that okay. But now I feel like rolling and buying myself some more time. And I will establish the same full position, probably up to 60, 75 lots on that side, with selling the put credit spread about 125 to 150 range and buying some call debit spreads on a 2-to-1 basis. I will not go 1-for-1. I will definitely keep adding to the MSTU with options. Now, I thought about doing a covered strangle on MSTU, In fact, I'm going to take a look at it going out a week, actually. What kind of return we will have. Let's take a look at MSTU. So coverage triangle is I buy the shares and then I sell an out of the money put, out of the money call. And I just want to do it weeklies, going out to Friday. Fridays, by the way, quad witching, folks. We're going to have some excitement starting Wednesday. So stock is 488. I can buy the stock at 488. I can sell the 450, put there a nickel. They're really not worth anything, man. Okay. Well, we'll probably get about 7 cents out of it. Let's say we get 7, 8 cents. And sell the $5 call. They're not that bad. $5 call is 15.20. So probably if I can get 25 cents out of this, let's see what we can do to 4.5. Or I can go flat 5, both sides. That's not that bad. So 25, that's 30. It's 45. If I go flat 5 on both sides, meaning sell the 5 puts, sell the 5 calls. So stock is 488. If I get called away at 5, that's 55 cents. That's about 11%. And if I get assigned, I will get assigned at 445. Let's see, 40 cents. Yeah, about 460, and stock is 488. That may not be a bad trade, actually. Let's see what the 4.5 5s are doing. Sell the 4.5, put sell the 5 calls. That's 25 cent credit. So 25 cents on 488. About 5%. Okay, for Friday, for 4 days. Let's not count today. And stock is 488, but 25 cents. So I'm telling the market that I'm willing to buy another equal amount of MSTU at 475. No, I don't like that. I mean, MSTU could be anywhere on Friday. I need to take in more money. So if I do the flat 5, sell the 5 puts, sell the 5 calls. You don't have to do the simultaneously. You can leg in, obviously, but now that's more like it. That's 47 cents credit. Stock is 488. If I get called away, I'll get called away at 547. Plus the 12 cents. That's about 60 cents. That's about 12%. And if I do get assigned equal amount of shares, I will get assigned at 453, which is about 6% lower than here. Am I willing to buy, let's say if I do 5,000 shares, sell 50 calls, 50 puts at 47 cents. Am I willing to buy another 5,000 shares of MSTU at 453? Probably so. Yeah, that's not a bad trade. 5 flat strangle is not a, covered strangle is not a bad trade. I'll think about that. So I'm just going to keep adding to the existing positions as they are. I'm done with the put debit spreads for hedging. So I'm just going to keep adding. Actually, I want to add to the per credit spread 130. Let's see if we can get it off at 125. I'm sure we can get it off at 125. I'll take 130. Patience, folks. You got to learn patience. Yeah, I'll keep adding to the per credit spread. Going out to January in SBET. MSTU, we're going to add. If they give it to us, 45 credit. They're not doing it. Okay, that's fine. What else? Semler, I'm done. Full position there. Put debit spreads. We're done there. Yeah, we're done pretty much. So if you have any questions, please put them up. I'll go to the front, answer some questions. If anybody wants to come on, please come on. Here's the link. Grab the link, folks. Grab the link. Don't be shy. All right. Okay, so I hope you answered that question. That's the hedge. Put debit spread on UPRO. That's the hedge I'm putting on. I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens when they cut the rate. Are we going to keep melting up? Potentially. But that's why I'm doing the put debit spread as opposed to directional. Now I can always work that, lift the short leg up and leave the long side alone. There's many ways to skin the cat. Let's go to some charts since nobody wants to come on. I don't know why you guys don't want to come on and keep me company, man. Come on now. Okay. Okay, so we have the orders in. We'll see what happens there. Yeah. Yeah, this market doesn't want to go down, obviously, right? But it's okay. On any which, those put debit spreads will double. We're just trying to make money, folks. That's all we're trying to do. Know your risk going in, know your reward, and act accordingly. Nobody want broke taking profits. Let's go to some charts. Let's go to big charts. Well, this is MSTU. I've been trading MSTU for over a year now. Okay, so this is MSTU. Obviously, it's 2x ETF of MSTR. This is MSTR. Right at the 200 EMA. Yeah, MNAV is getting killed. 450 down to 325. Look, a lot of YOLOers out there, they swear by it. What happens to MSTR? MNAV goes to 1. They go like, it shouldn't. And my question to those folks is, why should MSTR have a premium over their net asset, which is Bitcoin? Why? Anybody answer that? Put it in the chat. Why should any of these proxies or treasury asset companies for Bitcoin or Ethereum sell at a premium? Why? Don't tell me, the yield. Don't tell me any of that. So basically what Michael Saylor has been doing and now Tom Lee is doing is they're selling you $1 for $1.30 because MNAV is $1.3. Sure, I'd do the same thing. But now I'm more bullish on SBAT because I can buy $1 for 88 cents. I'll just do that all day long, as opposed to getting involved with BMNR. I mean, I see it that way. So we're going to have a discussion if anybody wants to come on and teach me about this. I think I know enough, but I can always learn. So that's MSTR. Let's go to SPX or SPY. Let's go through some quick charts. We just keep going, grinding higher. Stuck on the upper band of the Bollinger Band. MACD turning back up after just still actually not making a new high. But if we do get a melt up, there's a channel way up there, about 675 or 67.50 on SPX. I don't know. I don't like drawing too many lines. If there's technicians, I don't want to insult you, but technicals just tell you what the past is. It doesn't tell anything about the future, literally. So that's that. Triple Q, new high, grinding higher. Nothing wrong with that, folks. Apple, let's look at some Max 7 stuff. Apple, after the sell-off, when they had the product introduction day last Wednesday, recovered pretty much everything. Love Google, got lucky, bought it about 145, new all-time high today. I didn't expect it to do this, but then I'll take it. It's in my long-term port. FYI, if you do follow me, I was long Unity about 22 in my long-term port. Actually, on Friday, I sold it, and it's higher today. So, but what I'm long in my long-term port is Kava, and I have some cash secured puts that I probably will get assigned, 65s. I have Google. I have Nike, which today I'm going to swap to Lulu. I got lucky again. I bought Nike about 54. Again, just super lucky. My long-term portfolio, I try to go over a year for capital gains purposes. I mean, it's either topping Nike here or it's just kind of going sideways before the next leg up. But I want to get into Lulu. I want to swap Nike into Lulu, which I think is about fair here. Maybe there's maybe another 10-point downside, 20-point downside, but I can withstand that. Yeah, that's it. That's what we have. So what do I go do with Unity software that I sold? I was thinking of IWM actually, to be honest, which is so IWM has underperformed, which is the Russell 2000. It has underperformed the SPX and Triple Q for 5 years. So how do you prove that? Well, this is how you prove that. You go back. Let's go back 3 years. So IWM is not even close to making a new high. SPX and I mean, if I just put the charts up, you guys can see the difference in charts. This is SPX. This is IWM. I mean, I don't know. Look at the difference, right? Okay. So to me, if there's going to be an interest rate cutting cycle, I think smaller stocks are going to do well. And there may be some rotation. It may be the time for small caps to outshine or outperform the big boys. And TLT is the inverse indicator or Treasury bond ETF. That's broken up above the 200 EMA now. So rates are going lower. Mortgages are going lower. It may create some housing activity. I really put a decent video out a couple of days ago about the unaffordability. Nobody can buy a house in the U.S. This is so unaffordable, and the major part of that is mortgage rates. They used to be 3.5%. Now they're 7.5%. If you guys have any questions on specific stocks, again, none of this is trading financial advice. I'll give you my opinion. It's my opinion only. You may not like what I say. So, SMLR is actually, I'll go through the positions real quick. Look, we're into support if you're a technician again. Have limited downside and pretty decent upside. So, and also this is sort of a Bitcoin proxy, sort of, not fully. Stock can move. Last time, when they got announced, they're buying Bitcoin with their treasury cash. It went from like 25 to 81. I mean, I don't want 81. I want 40, or because that's where I'm capped with the calls. But what I will do is if the stock keeps grinding lower, I can always buy the short leg of the call debit spread back, like I did with SBAT, like I did with BMNR. I had a nice, decent, we made really good money on BMNR last week. And what else? Let's go through the melt ups. Oklo, let's go there. All-time high today. That's the smaller nuclear plant stock. ASTS, I like it bouncing today. Almost came down to 200 EMA, which is support. Well, it's bouncing, but then again, it's under its moving averages. Lemonade, I really like this company. It tagged the 50 EMA twice, and then we watched it and picked our nose. The big one is Tesla. Elon Musk buying his own shares. It gapped up. It broke out a couple days ago. It's on its way. I don't know. I think it's into resistance here, actually. Right about. But it's in an uptrend now. Now you got to buy pullbacks. I mean, you got to trust the system. I've been bullish on Chinese stocks for a year. You guys can go check out the old videos. I've been bullish on Baba. I've been bullish on Baidu. I've been bullish on Billy. Look at Baidu. There you go, up another 70 cents. Now, actually, I'm turning quite bullish on JDS Uniface, or JD.com. Sorry, not JDS Uniface. This may be a good catch-up trade. Pony AI, which we traded quite nicely. That's breaking out. Pony, not Pont. That's Pony AI, kind of breaking out, actually, after basing. Another one, autonomous vehicle stock. These both are autonomous vehicle stocks. WeRide is another one. I love these types of stocks when they base, and then when they start moving with good volume, you got to get on it. So it's on my watch list, obviously. People go like, why are you dealing with China, tariffs, this and that? It doesn't matter. They're just doing exactly what we're doing. Their debt to GDP is actually a lot higher than ours now. They're just, pumping money into the system because they know they're about to go into a deflationary cycle back in China. So, right, they're doing what we're doing. Print and pump. That's what we're good at. That's what everybody's good at. We just look at the M2, global M2. Once you look at global M2, you'll understand the whole picture. I have really a couple of great videos in the channel. Go check it out. There is a direct correlation between global M2 and stocks, or not just stocks, all asset classes. Gold, new all-time high again today, on its way to 4,000. Same thing with gold stocks. Look at that rip after going sideways for 4 months. We were in it. We got out early. That was the best trade of the year by far, by far. But then we got out early. But then again, you know, good traders always get out early, and good traders always get in early. That's been my experience over the last 35 years. I don't know. Yeah, that's about it. What else? Oh, Rocket Lab. A couple of my members are in it. That's cupping up now, new high. One of my members is big time in Neo. Retested the high. Yeah. They're floating like 200 million shares, diluting 10%. The stock is retesting its high, that's strong. You got to be strong, really strong. Nvidia had some bad news out of China today. Still nothing, honestly, down pennies. That's consolidating. It looks like before it makes a new high. Palantir, it's just curling up to march to a new high. Robinhood, what is there to say about this company? They haven't taken a wrong step. Everything they do is great. You know, they're the new generation stock. They're the YOLO and hodlers, diamond hands. And latest two hot on Twitter, hot off the presses is Open Door Technologies. So they hired this guy from Shopify, and stock goes from, well, before then it already had gone from 50 cents to 5, pulled back to 2. I had a cover strangle on this. What did we do? Yeah, we did more verticals on SBAT. That means it's pulling back, which is good. Well, not good, but it's okay. I will add some more. And yeah, where's this going to go? I mean, look, this is fire. If you want to deal with fire, when a stock is selling 5x its 200 EMA, you need to get your head examined to buy this thing here. I will not buy this with your money, but then a lot of YOLOers do. And they turn out to be right. But then at some point, just like GameStop, they'll hold the bag. Again, no offense to anybody. That's my experience. Okay. Another hot off the press stock on Twitter is Grab, the poor man's Uber from Asia, the super app of Asia, doing nicely, up about 1%. And another one is Oscar Health. You know, I go on Twitter and then watch this. Oh, Oscar Health actually over from 20, pulling back to 20 MA. Actually, maybe time for me to buy it. So I wait. I'm patient. Pull back the middle band on Bollinger or 20 MA, right about 18, I think. I will give it a crack. I will buy some shares. And yeah, so that's where we are, folks. Let's go there, enter another order. Do we enter another order? So we're up to 35 puts. Okay. We'll keep the October 17.5, 15. So we'll just keep adding to. We'll keep adding to the 15, 12.5 on SBAT. And then at some point, we'll buy some call debit spreads with that money. I don't want to put money out of my pocket to do this trade. I have like tons of upside, limited downside. Not September. We want to do October, not October. We want to do January. Buy the put. 121 credit. How did I do it at 130? Huh. Okay. We're up to 35. Let's go to 135. 5 more at 135. So we'll be at 40-20. That's 2-1. And then I'll buy some call debit spreads with that money. I'm actually trying to close the Octobers altogether from 60 to 0 today. I did that, taking profits. Not much, about, I don't know, 15, 20% profit. But I don't want to be in October, and I don't want to be in the money with the short leg of the put. Less risk. And I have an order there to close that at 130 debit. I think we can do it at 135 because the last 10 I have left is 326 on the short side, 162. So we're right about 158, 156. Yeah, 135. I'll take a couple $100 profit there. Let's close that at 135. Okay. We go 135. We'll do it on the next little pop. We'll clean that up and then keep rolling into the 15, 12 and a half going out to January. Okay, that's good. Yeah, put debit spreads nowhere. A little bit of a loss, no problem. MST, I don't want to open any new long positions going into it. In fact, I want to clean up some more. I'm about 80% cash. I mean, why not? Just wait. And then markets open every day, folks. No need to rush. All right. Nobody wants to come on. Interesting. Okay. Well, you guys be that way. So what else? Show the positions. I'll post the positions. Well, I'll leave, have a cup of coffee then if you guys don't want to come on. I'm going to obviously be live during Wednesday, Fed decision. I'll go live I'm going to go live at 10. I'll go all the way through his news conference. We'll listen to that blabber for about half hour, but the decision is at 11. So we'll see what kind of volatility we get. Friday, OPEX, I'll have power hour at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. Positions I'll post Monday, Wednesday, Friday. You want to become a member, you're more than welcome to. Click join. Send me an email, sergio@sergioavedian.com. Look, I don't do this for YouTube money. I have a huge YouTube channel that does something else. And but I'm just trying to pay it forward, pass my experience of 30 years to you folks, and inform and educate. What did we do now? We did some. Did we do the SBAT some more? That's wonderful. Did we? No. No. What do we do? Oh, we closed the cool. It bounced 10 cents and we closed that at a profit. Okay, so we're out of the put credit spread going to October. So now we can add to January. We're at 135. Let's duplicate that order to 125. So we're taking in 125 to 135 range on the 15, 12 and a half. Yes, sir. Just keep adding to those. And then once I get to 50 lots, I'll add to the call debit spread. I want to be 2-to-1, right about that range between the put credit spreads. That way I'm not putting any money out of pocket. And I have really decent upside. And once we break out on Ethereum, I will definitely add to the call side. But at the moment, I don't have any reason to add to the call side. So what do we have here? Yeah, 125 credit, 135 credit. And let's put another one in case we get a whoosh down to 145 credit. Okay. 145. So we got 15 more going there. So at that point, we'll be at 50. Then I'll add to the call debit spread. 2-to-1 is good. Yeah, that's good. Because the call debit spread at the second is about 2.5. Yeah, I don't want to spend money out of pocket on this. Actually, I want to add. No, I don't want to add to the put debit spread on UPRO. I'm fine. That's good. Couldn't do the. See, this is the problem with these market makers. They just won't give it to you. Okay, can you give it to me? Can you give me 43 cents? You know what? Be disciplined, Serge. Why am I rushing? Why am I chasing? It's not going anywhere. And if it does, you have a position, I can always add on the way up. You know, one thing that I've learned is don't chase things. Let them come to you. It'll come to you. Be patient. You know, patience, man. Markets open every day. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay, folks. Nobody is here. Nobody at the door. Okay. All right. My hat's off. I'll be back on Wednesday trading with Sergio. Fed decision. Important week. OPEX on Friday. VIX is at 14.5 and change. Pretty damn miserably low. Every time we're down here, you got to be careful. And we'll see. Should be exciting Wednesday. I mean, today is pretty good. But so please put a thumbs up if you enjoyed. Please share. Teach your kids about finance. And if you're older, teach your grandkids about finance. They're not being taught. They're just being taught everything under the sun except that. Teach them about finance. Teach them about investing. The earlier they start, the better it is. You know? Teach them about that. And at your dinner tables, talk about these things. Talk about, yes, it may be boring to them. Yes, they may be swiping on TikTok all day. That's not going to get them anywhere except dead brain cells. So, spread the gospel because, the rich have figured out how to do this. Why is the wealth gap the largest ever in this country, going back 50 years? Because the rich have figured it out. What did they figure out? They accumulate hard assets. And because the government's doing what they're doing, those hard assets keep going higher. Proof is in the pudding. Look at today. Gold new high, stocks new high. Crypto pretty close to new highs. Real estate pretty much at new highs. That's what you got to do. That's the way you battle inflation. That's the battle, debasing of the U.S. dollar. That's the way you battle U.S. dollar being toilet paper. Simple, folks. Invest in hard assets, whatever that is. Just invest. Be patient. If you want to trade, go ahead and trade. Most people lose money trading. But if you're good at it, maybe you won't. But investing is the key to financial freedom. Nothing more, nothing less. Yes, there are downdrafts. Yes, there's things like the April crash, and there's the pandemic, and there's black swans, and there's this and there's that. But over long periods of time, you will be fine, especially if you're young, especially if you're college or high school. Learn, invest, put $100 a week away, something, put it in some sort of index and DCA. It is paramount that people do this, and they teach their kids this, and they teach their family this, because it's lacking, So with that said, have a great week. I'll be back on Wednesday. Let's make some money.